Welcome to the Mad Singers Management Podcast from madsingers.com, where entrepreneurs and business managers learn and share. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a review.
Hello and welcome to this next episode of the Mad Singers Management Podcast. Today I have with me Jerry Abiog. Welcome to the show, Jerry.
Hey, thanks. Honored to be here.
Excellent. As usual, in my shows, not everyone on planet Earth yet knows you. So would you be happy to do a little bit of an introduction and teach the audience a little bit about who you are and where you come from?
Yeah, thanks. So my name is Jerry Abiog. I am one of the co-founders and I am the CMO of a company called Standard Insights. We're based out of the US and in a nutshell, it's an AI as a service growth marketing platform. And basically what we do is we help businesses, number one, execute data-driven omni-channel campaigns. Number two, we enable them to monetize their data to find lookalike customers on Facebook. And what this does, it helps them to target the right person with the right product or service at the right time. So in essence, we are enabling companies to be more competitive in a data-driven world.
That sounds super simple.
Thanks. Trying to make AI so lots, what I've learned over the last handful of years is you got to make it simple.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, what about a little bit about your background, Jerry? What's sort of your background before you went into this world of AI?
Yeah, so I've 25 years in all forms of sales and marketing. I was working for the corporate world up until 2011, 2012. And after that said, to hell with it. I think I could do better on my own. So in 2012, I started taking on clients, software companies, helping them with sales and marketing. And some of those companies did well. And then my last client, this was roughly 34 years ago, was an AI machine learning startup. That company failed big time. But what I learned at that time during my tenure there, that number one, people want an easy to use platform, regardless of what software it is. And number two, there was something bubbling beneath the surface with regards to AI and machine learning applications. And now I think some studies have projected that, AI machine learning projected to be around $200 to $300 billion industry in a few short years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that sounds very, very likely.
Yeah.
Very likely.
Right place at the right time. Let's cross our fingers.
Yep. That makes sense. And you have a company with a few co-founders at the moment. How many are you, and what sort of position do you, or what kind of role do you play in that business?
Yeah, so we have 4 co-founders. My, as a co-founder, you wear many hats, but my main role is the chief marketing officer. Cool.
So that means you're responsible for marketing the AI platform and so on.
Marketing and sales, and trying to get on as many podcasts as possible. So thank you for having me on again.
Excellent. Yeah, it's always about getting the word out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. So we talked a little bit about this prior to the interview, but you're in a business with 4 co-founders. Now, a lot of my clients and a lot of the people in this community, they're always, some people jump into co-foundership very easily. Some people spend a lot of time before they get into it. What's sort of your experience with co-foundership, and how have you found it so far?
Yeah, so this has been just a blessing, because I've been in situations where there was a lot of infighting, if you will. And, when you're first starting out, before you get before you have revenue coming in, last few, I've experienced it where people were fighting on the shares of the company. But it seemed like here, everyone kind of, knew their role. And nothing's ever perfect, right? We do have some disagreements from time to time, but it's
Sure.
always worked out in a friendly fashion. I think we were talking before this that we all came together and learned from our past failures. So maybe learning from our past failures with startups and our business experience helped when we first started. So we've got 4 co-founders. We've got 2 strong gentlemen in India that developed the product. One guy used to live here in the States. He worked for a Fortune 50 company as a technological architect. The other guy has a background in computer science. I'm here in the States. The other guy here is in the States, and he has a strong digital marketing background. And then not only that, he's an angel investor for a company called Standard Cognition in the Bay Area that's now worth $500-600 million. So we all 4 came together with a strong experience in our particular skill sets, and it's working well so far.
Well, I'm happy to hear. There's I'll say I definitely see my part of sob stories around partnerships coming by my desk, if you will. So very, very happy to hear that you are in a situation where things are going really smooth. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What's sort of your management philosophy like? You're obviously looking after marketing and sales team and so on. How do you think management, and how do you sort of think about your staff and making them the best version of themselves?
So my weakness, or if you will, is probably trying not to micromanage. So I'm one of the co-founders, right? So if you will, almost working 24/7, getting up at 5 in the morning, and then getting on the phone with the co-founders in India, chat with them for about an hour or so. Then I'm going to the gym, and then back at home at 7:30. So I'm always like on. So I expect, and I know this is unfair, right? But it's something I'm working on, that everyone that comes on board has to have that, mindset 24/7. And you really can't always expect that of the people, especially if they're not, part owners of the company, right? So try to give them, leeway and space, and the, parameters which, they need to work from, or which we all agreed for them, and goals that they need to achieve.
Excellent. That makes sense. And what's been your biggest struggle so far around this? So, I mean, you're managing a few people. What's been the most difficult in this business specifically from a management standpoint?
Since we're a startup, it's just getting them to believe.
Yeah.
Right. Just getting them to believe in the messaging and the product and how we could help businesses. And, we've gone through a few, so it wasn't easy. It sounds cool at first, but, once you start working, it's like, oh man, they don't have anything set up. Well, we're a startup, right? So, we're learning. Our messaging from when we first started almost 2 years ago is a lot different now. So it's just getting people to, to believe and to buy into, the vision.
Excellent. And what's the biggest mistake you feel you've made, either you personally or the business, from a management standpoint so far?
Probably not listening to your customers, right? Because at the end of all, they're the ones, paying for your check, right? So obviously the more customers you get, the bigger your evaluation is. So this is what we learned from prior companies. We just had sometimes you have your blinders on, right? And it's like, hey, this is what we created. This is what's going on. This is the message that we started. So coming here 2 years ago, a lot of that was mitigated. So coming into this startup where all 4 of us had some experience with other startups and learned, we actually discussed that. Discussed that. So, so just learning, and, mainly learning from our customers or potential customers when they give us suggestions and ideas and tweaks. You talk to 10 people, if 7 people say the same thing, it's like, okay, That, we talked to 10 and 7 said the same thing. Let's tweak the platform, or, based on what these 7 people said.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So at the moment, obviously, you have a product that's working and in action. I'm super interested in all this AI stuff as well. So I'd love to know a little bit more just about how it works and so on. Would you mind sort of digging deep a little bit and just going through?
Yeah. So it's an AI as a service platform. So it's cloud-based, and what it does, it's pretty neat actually. We can analyze the data and execute marketing campaigns all under one platform. And what we found in the past is, there are good software companies that can, analyze the data. And then on the flip side, there are good, omni-channel campaign, marketing platforms that can execute the campaigns, text, email, social media. But when we put all this together, nothing could be done, under one roof. So,
right.
We can enable that for clients now, whether they're online, brick and mortar, manufacturers. So basically any business that wants to drive repeat buyers from their customer base, right? The old 80-20, the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. So so what we do, we'll pull customer data, and the first thing that we do is we analyze each and every customer's potential profitability by a scoring mechanism. And then what we can do, depending on the data that's given to us, we segment that into, we identify trends based on, geographic, demographic or psychographic trends and behavior patterns. So you can determine what someone's likely to do.
Cool.
So we can determine, this person is likely to buy this product, or is predicted to buy this product, living, in Georgia and California and Oregon or in the Philippines or what have you. So when you're making predictions and then you're executing campaigns based on those predictions or predictive and prescriptive analytics, the conversions tend to increase tremendously.
Yeah. And what sort of size of customers, like, I'm just trying to get an understanding of like, what's the sort of cost structure with what you do, and when does it make sense for people to start thinking about something like what you do?
Yeah. So at bare minimum, and 200 customers for our platform to start analyzing patterns.
Who are the customers that benefit the most from this type of software?
Yeah, so customers, big or small, can benefit. I can give you 2 examples. So one customer, they sell sunglasses online. They got roughly 2,000 customers and 100 different pairs of sunglasses they sell. So what we're able to do for them, so they're about one of our smaller clients. We took their 2,000 customers and we segmented those customers, or analyzed all 2,000 on their potential profitability. So, with the 2,000, you could have your, top tier customers. Maybe they're called champion customers. The middle tier, they're called loyal customers. And then maybe the bottom tier, you call them sleeping. They bought from you once and never to be seen again. So now if you're a marketer for the sunglass company, you have a budget to allocate, maybe allocate your marketing budget, your sales budget to the top tier customers. You keep them happy, the champion and the, for the 2,000 customers, we're able to predict what each person is likely to buy, similar to what Amazon and Netflix are doing. So when you're getting more precise with your marketing and more targeted, the conversions tend to go up. And since this company is a smaller company, if I remember correctly, we helped them over a period of time improve their sales by 15%.
Right. That's a fairly good increase.
Yeah. And then there's another, on the other side, we have a bigger company that they're about $10 million. They have 200,000 customers, and we're doing the same thing. And once everything is connected, I mean, we can provide, an analysis within literally minutes, well, depending on how fast the internet connection is, right? But once everything, assuming the data is clean, we can literally, present an analysis within 15 minutes. And then what you can do, information's not good if it's just sitting there. Within 2 clicks of your mouse, you can execute data-driven email campaigns, Facebook campaigns, or text campaigns.
Excellent.
Omni-channel approach. And since they're a bigger company, they've been more established, you're not going to see the 15% plus bump. So for them, it was just moving the needle by a few percentage points. And when you're that big and you're, $10 million plus range, moving the needle by a few percentage points, means a lot.
Yeah. Totally. What about from a cost standpoint? So what is the actual cost of it, and how does the cost structure work?
So the cost structure is going to be dependent on the amount of data that you have. We have platforms. So, our vision is to be the, global standard, if you will, of how successful businesses prioritize and execute their marketing protocols from insights driven from their data. With that being said, and with the democratization of AI, we want to include the small companies. So we're just not going after the big fish. And for the smaller companies, as long as the small companies have a minimum of 200 customers, we're running, I guess, a promotion, if you will, that for 200 customers, they can check us out for a minimum of $125 a month.
Right. Yeah, that sounds very affordable, and that's very similar to the levels of like email systems and so on, like ActiveCampaign and the likes, right? So that actually sounds like a fairly sensible place to start.
Yeah. So we would just give them the basics, if you will, the bare bones, but at least it gives a good way for these small companies that they're hearing about AI, everywhere. It's like it gives them a good place to dip their toes in and get their feet wet.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, and it sounds very exciting. I mean, I think obviously I think all the big companies nowadays are running on data, right? So when you see Facebook and Google and so on, they have a ton of data and they're using it extremely well to deliver amazing results, right? So I think it's only a matter of time before that level of technology becomes available to smaller businesses as well, right?
And you made a good point. So, AI right now is, reserved for the maybe Fortune 100, Fortune 50 companies, but now with our platform, if you're doing 500,000, 500,000, or 10 million, or in some cases, 50 million, even at 50, can you afford a data scientist, or can you develop the platform, to buy versus build, scenario? So even these, mid-tier companies with our platform, can take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So now it's not only reserved for the, for the big guys, but, the other day I had a conversation with a, $1 billion tire company. I think they're based in Florida. And while, yes, they do have, data scientists, on staff, they're not doing everything. While they can do a lot of things, their data scientists aren't able to do some of the things that our platform does. So even with that big, we're not going to take over their data science team, right? But maybe there's a small piece of the pie that they're not doing that we can help out with.
Yeah, that makes sense as well. I think that sounds very good. Any sort of key things from a managerial standpoint? I mean, one of the things that I've one of the types of people I work a lot with is these sort of CMO type people who are in these marketing roles and are looking for ways to make better decisions. And it sounds like a great tool for a lot of CMOs to actually be able to help them make smarter decisions.
Yeah.
Is it typical that level that companies come to you, or does it tend to be the owner, CEO, or where do you normally start the conversations?
Probably at the CEO level.
Yeah.
The smaller they are, so we try to start off with the owners, and the the conversations we've had for I guess the high dollar companies, they started off at the CEO level, and then it got pushed down to the CMO. So yeah, eventually I have a conversation with the CMO.
Excellent. Yeah, I think for a lot of the CMO I've worked with, they're always looking for. I'd say prioritization is nowadays so key because there's so many things that you can do, right? You have email marketing, you have social media, you have still a ton of potential platforms that you can attack, and I think definitely some intelligence around where to go and where to go first, and where your customers are and so on is potentially super valuable. Right?
Yeah, you had a key word, prioritization, right? That's the key thing there. Prioritize and execute. I think you had mentioned you're in Vietnam, and so maybe you're talking to a customer that sells T-shirts, but maybe red shirts aren't selling in Vietnam, but red shirts are selling here in the States. Then why would you market red shirts over there, right, in Vietnam? So it's prioritizing based on what the data says. And then with AI, it's unsupervised learning, so the patterns could change. So the patterns could change 3 months from now or 6 months from now. So nothing's ever a static process, especially in the world that we live in today. So with AI, it recognizes those patterns that, it could remain the same, but it could also change. And the companies that, recognize that will win over the companies that don't.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense as well. And I think the world obviously changed really fast, but I think definitely for me, the prioritization is a big one, right? Because particularly in smaller companies, I see people figuring out something that works.
Yeah.
And then what happens is they get so focused on all these new shiny objects that they go away from something that works, trying something they hope work better, which it might or might not. But the key thing for me is they actually leave something on the table that they know works, and they either forget about it, or they're so busy running around after these such shiny objects that they leave it on the table. And I think data to actually show you not just what works, but also show you this thing you did last time was a really good process, right? You should definitely keep going. I think data in that regard would actually also be very, very helpful for business owners, because I see that happen again and again and again, and it makes me sad.
And I think I heard it in one of your past podcasts. People keep on chasing the shiny objects, right? But when you see what works in the past, why don't you continue with that? And I don't know if you saw our tagline is driving repeat buyers using artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I think Bain put a study, right, that just a 5% increase with repeat customers can yield over 20%, 25% in profits. And you mentioned a key thing there. People keep on doing shiny objects, and people always want to bring new customers in. They want to do SEO. We just signed a client yesterday, actually, and we were talking to them for weeks and weeks, and they wanted to spend money on SEO, new customers in, all this, and it was going to cost them. So we looked. So they were on limited budget, right? But I said, hey man, to do it properly and right, it's going to cost you at least $100,000. You guys have been in business for 20 years. You've got a wealth of data. Let's analyze that check out the patterns and, start, retargeting them, because they're selling this product that has a life cycle of 18 months. I believe, wow, you got a lot of, tons of information here that we can analyze and, and pull from and segment. And now we can start retargeting those. It's so low hanging fruit. And then what we can do now, take that information and find lookalike customers on Facebook. Because if you go on Facebook right now, you can create lookalike customers on Facebook. But typically, if you ask any digital marketer, that's based on a best guess versus facts. But you're absolutely right. People are all these companies. It's sexier that way, right? Let's get new customers in. And what about the ones you've had, in your database? Are you sending them any emails? Are you sending them any, any texts or?
I'm definitely excited to go and check it out a little bit myself. Yeah. If people want to get hold of you, what's the best way to do so?
So I think I can give you the links, but on LinkedIn, you can get a hold of me, Jerry, and then Abiog. I think it's not a common name, so you should be able to find me easily. They could go to our website, which we're getting a new website hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But go to standardinsights.io or email me yourself, and I'll, I don't typically do this, but I'll give you my email. Reach out to me, Jerry, Jerry, at standardinsights.io. And I can email you the links as well.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll get those included in the show notes, so that's perfect. Yeah. That is excellent, Jerry. Listen, it was very, very interesting talking to you. And I wish you guys the best of luck with the business. And
thank you.
Excited to hear how it progresses in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It was an honor to be here.
Excellent. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Thank you for listening to the Mad Singers Management Podcast. Please leave a review. It means the world to us. You can also learn more about management at madsingers.com.